Hello and welcome to The Way, the Truth, the Life. This is a series where I'm going to be unpacking maybe a way that the world thinks versus the way that Christians think or the Bible teaches us. Then we're going to look at the truth. So is there any truth in why Jesus might be asking us to live a certain way in our lives? And then the life. How does this impact us in our lives? And today's topic is going to be about cancel culture. I think cancel culture might have started in a good place where people are calling out people whose behaviour was wrong and they needed to kind of stop being in the position, perhaps a celebrity who's done something wrong, maybe even a crime, and then they get cancelled because it's like, well, you can't work with them, we can't watch their stuff or listen to their music anymore because of what they've done. And I think that it's really good actually to have consequences for actions, and I'm not against that at all. But I think maybe we've taken it a little bit far in culture where we've started to cancel people not only if they've done something actually wrong, but maybe they have a belief that you don't agree with, that doesn't align with your views. So if they're not saying the right thing, that deserves for them to be cancelled. And I feel like this has been highlighted more recently with Charlie Kirk's death. I know a lot of people will disagree with some of the beliefs that he had, and what he said divided people's opinions. But then there was a big reaction, particularly on TikTok, to his death. People celebrating the fact that he has died. Even actress Kristin Chenoweth faced backlash after posting about his death. And all she said was, didn't always agree but appreciated some perspectives. What a heartbreak, his young family. I know where he is now, heaven, but still. So what she's essentially saying is, I might not have agreed with everything, but I can still appreciate that this is a tragedy, that a young family has lost a father. A 31-year-old's life has been taken. And though his opinions may be something that people would disagree with, there was not necessarily a crime that he had committed. Even Kristin faced backlash herself, and she had to come out and explain why she said that. And even herself was kind of getting cancelled for having an opinion about a man who's lost his life and left a wife and 2 young kids behind. Now, I actually think that's a really sad way to live, but I think it's really hard in the media sometimes because they like to paint people as the villains. Even on reality TV shows, there always has to be someone where the narrative does not go in their favour, and they kind of come out of that reality TV show collectively hated by many people. And again, you know, I'm not talking about when people have done something actually wrong. I'm talking about people who are maybe just not quite aligned with how you see the world. So then what is the truth in a culture that likes to cancel people? I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And when it talks in the Bible about forgiveness and giving people a second chance and not cancelling people, it talks about how many times are we supposed to do that. And it actually gives a number of 77. But does that mean that we kind of give someone 77 chances and then once they've blown that, that's it? But actually, in the Bible, the number 7 represents completion. So it's kind of like just however many times you need to forgive that person is the amount of times you have to forgive. And it even says in the Lord's Prayer about forgiving others just as we have been forgiven. But does forgiveness actually benefit us? I don't know if you saw, going back to Charlie Kirk, that his wife came out and said that she forgives the person who did it. A study had been done, Northern Ireland, it was a hope project that was done all about forgiveness. And they were working with people who had lost family members due to the political troubles in Northern Ireland. One group had some mothers whose sons had been shot for no other reason than their political or religious upbringing. And obviously then they're going to feel a lot of hatred and a lot of anger towards the people who unfairly took the lives of their loved ones. But the forgiveness training that they went through offered some life-changing results. So when the women came in, the average score that they scored of hurt was 8.5 out of 10. And then after the forgiveness training, the score went down to 3.5 out of 10 when they were leaving. So the levels of depression in women went down and optimism increased. They were obviously still left mourning their loss, but the forgiveness had given them a new ability to cope. Psychologists have shown that forgiveness reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and improves self-esteem and hope for the future. So the life. I wonder if there is someone that you haven't forgiven today. And this might not even be someone in your life. This might be a celebrity that didn't speak out when you wanted them to, or a person in your life that's let you down in some sort of way. I wonder what it would mean for you to forgive that person. Now, as a Christian, I believe forgiveness is a really hard thing to do. I really rely on my faith when it comes to trying to forgive someone. I wonder what your life would be like if you let go of that resentment, if you watched TV programs and you didn't have to get stirred up in anger towards the villain of the program. To know that we can disagree with someone but still show empathy and understanding towards each person as valuable, for a world to not have a culture of cancelling but a culture of forgiveness.